rent-free in his head. And yeah, I would like to give the mic to Alona. Look down in
Hello,
the
everyone.
barracks.
Oh my
It's the one account with a blue check mark.
Hello. This is the hot piece of ass who runs a Ponzi scheme. Did you guys miss me? But yeah, I just saw this amazing gentleman in the audience, and I'm just putting up the tweet that I want to put up in the nest. 1 second. So okay, yep, it's about Paul Massaro. And I just want to tell you guys that Paul Massaro is my favorite CIA animal. And yeah, I think he's just the top dog, you know. There's been so many different allegations, but this, you know, and as I said in the tweet, like, I've had all Ukrainians a really shit day. But this really made me smile today. So I just wanted to, you know, to join for a second and say thank you to this person. So I don't know if he should be named, or like I've just literally stormed into this space. I don't know what you're talking about here, but yeah, thank you very much.
Hey, by the way, I'm still waiting for my pay, so don't forget to do the secret.
Okay, thank you
The
for saying
secret
this.
crypto.
Yeah. Okay, guys. So I get a lot of questions, and I'm gonna put up that tweet as well. I saw by accident, I was scrolling like tweets, you know, that mentioned Ukraine DAO, and that is how I found out that Ukraine DAO is actually funding NAFO, which you know, I would love for it to be true. But
Bonk,
you know, and maybe it
bonk.
is. Bonk, maybe it is. So the way to go about these things, right, is to create a bit of confusion, right? So I'm not going to tell you today. I'm not going to tell you whether we are funding NAFO or we are not funding it. After all, it's not like it's, you know, it's not like it's blockchain where things are recorded. But yeah, I wrote a thread where I kind of address all the circulating rumors, and TLDR of it would be that indeed the plan is to just occupy the whole the solar system is this, you know, stage one kind of thing, but we are just trying to use NAFO to expand further into the universe. And I truly believe, you know, as a proper Ukrainian neo-Nazi gay laser alien, that the Milky Way will be ours, and there is just no, you just, you know, you just eat it up. We are just those bitches who are going to do that, you know. So yeah, thank you for having me. I don't know if I've chatted enough tosh right now, if you know what I mean. There was this Scottish guy who was telling me that Alona, you chat at a tosh. So shout out to him too. So yeah, thank you very much.
Slava Ukraine.
Героям слава.
Slava наш.
Смерть ворогам. You can also say Слава нації, пиздець Російській Федерації, if you want.
Пиздец Російській Федерації. Пиздец
Російській Федерації. I'm being so mature today. I'm just amazed at myself. Yeah.
Hey, don't worry, that happens even to the best of us. Did anyone want to say hi to? Oh well, I'll add him. KimDotCom.
No, he's Voldemort. Damn it! I was hoping we were gonna stick with the whole not saying his name. That would have been fun.
Too late.
It would be mean to deprive him of the attention he's so desperately looking for.
I think that's why he came in here, right?
Is he going to come up and speak? I want to know where to get one of those cool beds.
Sorry, I got a note really quickly. He's not just on Ukraine DAO list. He's also on the list of the Ukrainian government. Центр протидії дезінформації при РНБО України. So,
Центр чого? Вибачте, центр чого?
протидії дезінформації.
О, це ж моя служба небезпеки Росії. Служба протидії дезінформації, мабуть. They have a really cool Telegram channel, by the way, that you should follow, and they have other social networks that I'm probably gonna tweet it now. It's a really cool government team that is fighting disinformation.
So yeah, Kim, it's not just people on Twitter who are paying attention to you, it's also the Ukrainian government, so you really don't have to worry about the NAFO talks. You have to worry about the Ukrainian government eventually maybe taking action through the German governments. So yeah, you don't have to thank me for this information.
You truly are on a mission to inform everyone on the internet. It's admirable.
Well, I really don't give a fuck if someone has a blue check. I will fucking call them out.
I mean, we've got enough people with a blue check on lists, so I'm fine with that. Okay, who wanted to go next? Alex, do you want to go next?
Yeah. Hey, Kim, it's great to see that you're here in the space and you're here to listen to what we've got to say and find out what we're all about. I just want to tell you, you're a stupid fucking bitch, and you need to know that and remember it and think about it every day. Okay? Have a good day.
Yep.
He actually emojied to that, so I think he liked that, Alex. I don't know.
Oh, yeah? Come on up, bud. Let's have a little chit-chat and get to know each other. Hugs and kisses.
Of those guys, also super quick comment. It reminds me of those guys who will send me like abuse, or they send me like threats of legal action, and then they just block me straight away. And I'm like, dude, if you're so badass that you're gonna take me to court, maybe you don't want to block me, you know? But yeah, it's always so cute.
Hey, could I just say something real quick?
Yeah, sure, go on.
Hi, it's me, Sherrod. I wanted to thank Mushi Mads for my fella. It really was really sweet. All my my coworkers are in here too. Hey teammates. But we work really hard on doing briefings and cybersecurity for our jobs, and it is incredibly emotionally taxing on me particularly, I know. And having you guys post like positive things and funny things and make fellas for everyone is really huge for people that are in this all the time. And it's really nice to have that kind of counterbalance to like fucking atrocities. So I want to just say I appreciate all of you and all of the cool stuff that you do. And it's really nice to see people come together that way, and have a Ukrainian flag on my house, and it's got to stay there till Putin dies. So keep my spirits high until I can take it down. That's all.
Thank you for coming, and glad you're joining NAFO. The higher ups will instruct you on how to set up your account to receive your special pay and get instructions from your handler from Langley in France.
Thank you. I'm most excited about the multiple passports that I will be able to have now, so I can travel the world.
Oh yeah, well, I don't know if you know, but you'll be issued a standard issue NAFO Article 69 bonk stick. That's an extremely useful tool as well. Contains a whole lot of hidden electronics to monitor and brain control Vatniks.
I'm ready.
Yeah. I mean, whether or not you're ready doesn't really matter, because as soon as you join NAFO, you become part of a hive mind. So you lose any control. It's just an agency which doesn't exist controlling you. I mean, what do you think the vaccines were about? All right. Either Brad or some talk. Some talk. If there's one moment where you want to don your tinfoil hat.
Here we are. Okay, yeah, I can't believe we're here. I can't follow this act. So let me just go back to what I was typing. The trolls, they try to guilt people for speaking out about their abuses. The trolls try to turn people on each other, obviously. They post memes about how smart people talk about concepts and dumb people talk about people while they plot against and irritate others specifically, hypocritically. The trolls act as distracting and childish as possible while telling you to put on your big boy or girl pants and grow up and all this other. They've got their little scripts and they've got their little guilting things to say. But yeah, up in the nest, Brad was talking about some of the people that he saw as kind of abusive trolls, and I had specific interactions with them. It's the third link up there, and they had sent one person to try and get my name, and it just seemed very planned out, and it seemed very methodical the way that it happened, and I was stupid to fall into it, but it is what it is, and I don't even know whether they're all related or whether they're good guys just being nosy or whether they're bad guys themselves, and I don't want to roll the dice on that. I don't want anybody to have that info. So, I mean, if it gets out, it gets out, whatever. But I wanted to put a stopgap in there, and they wanted to disrespect that stopgap. And then they wanted to show how they were also abusing other people's information and giving them fake phone calls, and that's all up there in the nest too. So that harassment is exactly with the people who Brad said were doing some of the harassment, are coming from those people, and they're not focused on trying to help Ukraine. They're playing their little power struggle games. And I don't know whether they're actually working for Russia or just being shitheads, but that needs to stop. It does.
Whether or not people are being paid by Russia is kind of irrelevant. If you're a vetnik, you're working for Russia. I think, Kim, you should go ask for your paycheck, to be honest, because you're doing a whole lot of work. Although, yeah, sorry for your loss of sanity with NAFO. That's going to continue. Brad, are you still here, or shall we go to Erdanis?
Yeah, I'm still here. Although I'm confused. So, are you saying the people I was worried about are grabbing personal information, or are you saying that they're not?
Brad? Or is that who's talking?
Yeah.
Is that Brad talking?
Yeah.
Yeah. So up in
Yes,
the nest,
yeah.
the third link, it specifically addresses Marsh. It specifically addresses Shannon. It specifically addresses Jarvis and Emily, who work with Shannon, I do believe, because they were trying to distract from the fact that Shannon had tried to dox me by saying that Arthur and someone else was trying to dox Emily. But Emily had just posted a photo of her own house the day before with a tree falling on it. So how is she going to get doxxed? She's already posting her photo fully and her house picture fully. So nobody's doxing her.
No, nobody's doxing. But like, could we get off from that topic? I just don't
I
want
know it's
to bring it
uncomfortable,
up.
and I'm sorry
It's
to drag you
ridiculous.
into it, man, but it's like these are the people who are causing
Anyone,
the problem.
yeah, but anyone who's got a functional brain can figure out that there's nothing to pay attention to.
Yeah, but you know what is really cool to pay attention to is Ukraine beating the absolute dog shit piss, evacuating bowels and turning people into ash on their own land because people wanted to fuck around. But unfortunately, on the other end of that, they had to find out, right? So they're in the finding out stage, and there is no insult, there is no block, there is no me posting about them or being mean to them that could ever do the fact that they're just fucking losing. And I don't have to do shit because the boys and girls in Ukraine are fucking them up. And I'm just saying that they're getting fucked up. That's all I have to do is be like, hey, I saw this. You're getting fucked up. And they're just like so bothered by it. They're like, I'm going to post your address. As if I don't have a voter registration that any fucking incel can go Google immediately and find my home address. And so, like, I guess maybe I should be scared,
Brad,
but I'm not because, again, Ukraine is just
Brad,
beating dog piss out of Russia. And it's amazing.
Brad, I just like personal issues to not be a topic on the space, especially naming people, because it just escalates things. I mean, I know it's a bit ironic to say in that war. I'd like to go to Maddie.
Well, with Russia getting their asses handed over to them, that's the good news. Also, the elite first tank guards armies, well, division is pretty much gone. That was stationed near Moscow. It was equipped with some of the most advanced, well, by Russian standards, tanks. It had a lot of battle honors from World War II. It was reinstated in 2014 for the full preparation of the Russian invasion of Ukraine, but now it seems to be gone. The Ukrainians are still calculating how many POWs they captured in the Zoom pocket, and of course we've witnessed grim discoveries. That was the first reports came out on the 15th, but they were made official today. So far, we know that 440 bodies were discovered, including at least 17 Ukrainian servicemen. These Russian war crimes are consistent with what we've seen before in Bucha, Irpin, and Borodyanka. I want to make a grim warning. We're probably going to see more in Kherson because we're already seeing reports coming out from verified sources that just tend to indicate that something similar of the sort is happening there as well. Izum is a lot smaller than Kherson. Kherson is a pretty large regional center and a provincial capital, so we are probably going to see more. I'm not trying to down everyone's mood here, but I'm trying to prepare mentally everyone for the upcoming discoveries. In the meantime, the Russians abandoned pretty much the entirety of the Kharkiv Oblast. They've retreated eastwards to the tributary river to Siversky Donets. I forgot the name. Ostag? Or sorry, some really bad with names. It's a geographic barrier, and it's probably going to ensure that the Russians are going to have time to fortify there. But until then, the Ukrainians are going to take a break because the offensive lasted for 5 days, and it's kind of difficult for any military to have any offensive that's going to last for much longer. So, in terms of other news, Russia is getting dissed, even on the political front. President of the so-called president of the so-called Russian Federation traveled to the summit in Samarkand in Uzbekistan, and there he was dissed big time. He had to wait for quite a while to meet all the people that he was supposed to meet. Usually he's the one who's late, so now the tables have turned. Also, when he arrived, usually he'd be greeted by someone of a similar rank, like a president, but this time around he was actually greeted by a prime minister of Uzbekistan, and while most other heads of state were greeted by a military escort, he received none. So everyone knows that he's toxic, and everyone tries to avoid speaking with him. Xi Jinping was there as well, because that was a summit of the so-called Shanghai Cooperation Organization. It's kind of a supernatural structure that includes pretty much all of the member states of the CSTO, which stands for Collective Security Treaty Organization. And Xi Jinping there was spending most of his time speaking with other heads of state. He only spent a brief few minutes with Putin, and it seems like it's been made clear to him that Putin is on the losing side, and politically the situation for him is not improving, even with the states that were once considered to be allies to Russia. In terms of other news, Russia seems to be selling out a fellow member of the CSTO, namely Armenia. Azerbaijan launched a small offensive in the border regions of Armenia, and Russia so far has done nothing. The Armenians tried to call in CSTO troops, but it seems like Armenia is being sold out. They've been left out, hanging out to dry. Please note that the Azeris were conducting their offensives not in the territories of Nagorno-Karabakh, which is legitimately considered to be part of Azerbaijan, but they were conducting their attacks in Armenia proper. It seems like they were striking allegedly civilian targets, but from other reports I've seen, they've been striking residential areas that had Armenian troops stationed. So hiding among the residential areas is generally not a good idea for any military. That legitimizes the target. The Russians are trying to escalate tensions in other parts of the former Soviet region or the former colonies, including namely Tajikistan and Uzbekistan. Tajikistan conducted a number of attacks into Kyrgyz territories. They've been using multiple launch rocket systems and artillery, and it seems like, and I promise I'm almost done. I've been talking for a while, but there are quite a few things. They've conducted strikes on civilian targets, and so far the final number of casualties is not known. But it's done. It seems like it's done from the say-so from the Russian side, because the Russians have a number of military bases in Tajikistan, and the only GRU base outside of Russia, which is in Tajikistan as well. Note that both Tajikistan and Kyrgyzstan are members of the CSTO, so it's a very fucky organization, pardon my French, that's been dead on arrival since the 90s, and the only time the articles of this organization were ever activated were this past January, when allegedly Kazakhstan was under attack by a large number of foreign terrorists, which is so far seems like a load of bullshit, and the Russians deployed almost 3,000 paratroopers to the neighboring country. And you might ask why the Russians would actually incite this kind of arrest between Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan, and the answer is simple. Any kind of destabilization within the Central Asian or Southern Caucasus region aids the Russian narrative of them being the security guarantor. They win political points. So far, I can tell you that this most recent clash between Tajikistan and Kyrgyzstan is not the first one, but it's been widely publicized. Over the past year, these incidents keep happening, but the most recent one seems to be the most serious one, because the Tajiks used heavy equipment. It was not just a shootout between border guards. So yeah, hopefully that was useful. Oh yeah, and other updates. I'm not going on Maria Report ever again. So I have my personal reasons. I'm not going to go into them.
Same. Never going there ever again.
Yep. And thank you very much for the updates. A bunch of them haven't gotten enough attention, I feel, lately. I gotta go to speakers. Just yeah, regarding what you said about the war crimes, I do try to repeat that to people. There's a lot of things to be positive about currently, but obviously any liberated area where Russians have stayed and have not been in a hurry is going to result in, well, more of what they usually do being exposed. And as for the offensive, it's a perfect timing, because rain season is going to come. It's going to be much harder to lead offensives. And since Russians have been displaced in many places where they were dug in for a while, they're going to have to dig some new lines, new foxholes, and they're going to have to stick to roads, which, considering the huge amount of anti-tank portable weapons Ukraine has, is a boon, really. Okay, so I'm thinking if it was Steph or Eridanis next. And if anyone in the audience wants to come up and have a go at the Vatnik, KimDotCom, who's in our audience, like it's a lifetime opportunity. So
You got to take it when it comes. Thank you, Maddie, for that update. That was really great to hear it all summarized all at once. I have to say, it's very gratifying to the petty side I have to see Putin have to wait for everyone. In all the pictures, he looks subservient because he knows he is now considered inferior to all of those politicians. And it just warms the cockles of my cold, dead heart.
thank you, Eridanis. Steph, you're up.
Hey, everybody. I'm so excited to see folks I haven't seen or talked to in a really long time. Special shout out to, hold on, who's down there? Seb. Oh my gosh, Seb, I haven't seen you in forever. I'm so excited to see you here. Anyway, so I was on earlier, but I was having audio issues, so unfortunately I missed a lot. But just kind of piggybacking off of what Maddie and Arthur both said about, the war crimes. And so now that, villages and communities are being liberated, we're getting evidence of war crimes. And, it's just kind of my friendly reminder that vicarious trauma or secondary trauma is very real. It's not the same thing as primary trauma. I kind of consider it to be like a low grade trauma, but trauma is cumulative. And so it builds up over time, and every time you're exposed, it just increases the likelihood that you're going to experience traumatic stress or toxic stress. And so, I really encourage folks to practice some really good self-care. And it almost sounds silly to say this because obviously the majority of us are not, living in a war zone right now. But it's really, for those of you who want to bear witness, for those of you who want to be of assistance, we have to keep our helpers well. And so, a trauma response is a very physiological response. And so whatever, there's things you can do, very simple, easy things people can do to kind of decrease those stress hormone levels in your body. Make sure you're getting really good sleep. I know a lot of people in this space right now don't do that. But so, you really want to get good sleep. You certainly want to avoid drugs or alcohol, or at least in excess. Getting a little bit of exercise every day helps kind of burn off some of that adrenaline and cortisol. But also, if you have if you're a spiritual person, certainly prayer, meditation also really helps. Avoiding caffeine, I'm the last person really to talk about that. But just make sure that you're practicing good self-care. And we are privileged and blessed that we can look away, that we can pace and space our exposure. And I think some of us are propelled by our feelings of guilt that that's not appropriate to do. But I'm urging all of you to learn your limits, to respect your needs in this process as well. That is not in any way disrespectful to the people who are suffering, because they need us. They need us to be healthy, and they need us to be well. And so, yeah, I just wanted to put that plug in there. And I love all of you, and I'm so glad you're here.
I hope you know that there's KimDotCom in the audience. So I don't know if you love him as well. I mean, you're free. I'm not judging. Anyway, yeah, those were some useful tips. Jokes aside, who was next? I wanted to give the mic to Maggie. Big Sack, shout out. I love the videos you post. Not gonna lie, very big examples of Russian culture. Was it Messiles? You're welcome. Was it you, Messiles, or Jonathan?
Maybe. I got just a little question for Kim. If he did follow the news on Wagenknecht lately, it would be interesting, his opinion. I mean, the one from Postillon and the one from her YouTube channel. They have been both very funny. So, Kim, might you also say something, or just listening?
I think he's just listening. He's been offered to come up, but I don't feel like he has the courage to deal with a bunch of excited shivers right now.
Reasonable.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry. I would like to skip to Maggie and Big Sack. I mean, I feel like they might have some interesting things to say to our friend.
If you want to go first, Maggie? So all you.
First of all, Big Sack, big fan, right here. Want to say a couple of things. Also, just to kind of come in on what Steph was saying. Steph and I have run spaces about trauma and vicarious trauma before. We're thinking about doing another one because I think it's really important and helps people, you know, put some good tools in their toolbox for dealing with some of these things.
What happened?
Maggie just went silent.
Should I go then?
Well, does Kim have anything to add to the conversation?
Yeah, I'm here.
Well, I had a
Hello,
question.
hello. Can you hear me?
We can.
Hey, nice to be here, guys. I'm just listening, trying to learn, you know, understand what you are all up to and what your thinking is. So, if you don't mind, I will just stay in the room and listen.
You can also answer my question.
You were talking about a German
Yeah, but the
politician,
offended
right?
Leberstraße, you got to put your hand up, yeah?
So you were talking about a German politician there from the Linke Party, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she's making some valid points because Germany is going down the drain, and you know, she's trying to prevent that.
Yeah.
Down the drain into S from Putin, or what did you mean?
No, I mean that Germany is, of course, suffering from this energy crisis that is unfolding, and in the winter, things are going to get extremely tough with many, you know, German companies going out of business.
Oh, yeah.
So there are some Germans that are quite concerned about where this is all heading. Right?
Yeah, and you know where the wind comes from, right?
Yeah, they are offended to eat out the food, yeah.
Can someone throw out the junk?
Yeah, I think I go back to listening.
Good idea.
Come on, hence restrictions are lifted. Fire at will. Anyone?
Hey, so why should we care about Germany's power bills this winter? What does that even matter? What about all the children that are being killed and raped in Ukraine? Isn't that more important than if you have to have the thermometer below 17 degrees? No response to that?
What do you think, Kim?
Come on, we got to warm those fingers up. Breathe on them a little bit.
Well, you guys need to make a decision, right? If you want me to speak.
I mean,
no, you're the star here.
No, I mean, if you want me to speak, we can
Yeah.
have a respectful conversation, and I'm
Well,
happy
that was
to
a
have that
respectful
with
question.
you. Yeah, but the parts before that weren't really nice, so I'm happy to give it another try, if you can be civil.
Yeah, why should we care about Germany's power costs this winter? Why is that more important than the genocide happening in Europe?
So, if you really want to hear my views about this, it's probably going to take a little bit longer, but I'm happy to give it a try. I've been following this conflict from the beginning, actually before it even started. And if you go back to 2014, that is actually where the whole thing took off with the Maidan protests that led to the toppling of the then government. And the US has been funding that. The US has been supporting.
Okay, hold on. Sorry, I'm trying to be respectful here, but first off, you called it a conflict. It's a war. It's kind of obvious that it is a war. I have a conflict with my parents, okay? So I don't know where you're getting this information of the US funding the said conflict that you called. Yeah, they're funding it now, of course, but Maidan? Do you have any proof that Maidan was financed by the United States?
Yes, so there is a very good documentary from Oliver
Oh, yeah,
Stone.
Ukraine on fire? Yeah, no,
That's
come
right.
on.
And
Oliver Stone is an obvious asset. Sorry, I'm trying to be respectful here, but you're making it extremely difficult.
This is like
You're
a
making it
level
extremely
one.
difficult.
So one of
It's
the
like a
most
level
respectful
1
things that
I
you
would
can
love to hear
do
some new
is
talking
let me
points for a
finish.
change, not the same old ones over and over and over again.
Okay, hold on. Okay, Kim. Let's not go into the old shit that you've been doing. Let's look at the most recent tweet that you've posted. The passing of time favors China and Russia. Patience is their best move. No escalation. Not failing for provocations. No unbalancing. The passing of time doesn't favor the U.S. and EU. Economic and political turmoil are inevitable. With time, the EU will abandon the fallen empire. So I'm just trying to figure out, how does passing of the time favor Russia? I'm not even talking about China. Let's start with Russia. How does it favor Russia?
Yeah, it's quite simple. Economically, the US has significant problems. If you look at the US debt clock today, the US has a total debt of $90 trillion and has unfunded
Oh my God,
liabilities.
I'm so sorry. I'm
No,
trying
I
to
mean,
be extremely respectful, but
are you ever
it's
letting me
extremely
finish,
difficult to
or
be respectful.
is this
No,
how
I'm
it
not.
works here and
You
with
are
NAFO?
starting, you're talking about, you're talking about the US, but the US managed
Look,
to
if you
muster the
ask me a
bill.
question,
Yeah,
I
You,
know you
don't
want me to
interrupt.
no,
give you an answer. Just be
no,
respectful, you
I'm
know?
asking you a question about Russia and you start talking about the US. How does
Well,
Russia
be a
manage to win the
decent,
war?
well-mannered human being and let me answer your question. How about that?
Go for Russia first. Don't start with the United States. You're just
No,
muddying the waters.
no, I'm not muddying the waters. I'm giving
You
you
are
my
muddying the
answer.
waters.
So, do
Start
you
with
want to hear
Russia.
my answer or not?
Yes, start with Russia. How does Russia going
No,
to
I
survive?
start the way I want, and that is by explaining why the US government has significant problems with its financial health. So, when you look at the debt situation in
I'm
the
so
United
sorry.
States,
I'm so sorry. Hold on.
Maddie, let him
So
talk. I want to hear
no,
someone.
no, 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 no. It's the reason he's gonna go into this entire United States bullshit because I read fucking Russian Telegram channels and I just can't. I'm so tired of reading them. I want to hear something new. I want to hear something new.
No, I want to hear someone who's 10 million plus more in debt talk about the economy because it's fucking hilarious.
I first of all, Kim, I'm a huge fan.
thank
Your
you.
platform allowed me to steal tens of thousands of dollars in video games,
All right.
and it's proliferation of child porn that's pretty epic. Big W, big fan of that. I just want to ask, how can you not see that it's blatantly obvious that your whole worldview of America bad is because you're fighting extradition? Let's be fucking real, dude.
No, I have been watching the
Okay.
US long before my case, right? As you
Oh, I'm
know, I'm
sure,
a big
buddy. I'm sure.
supporter. No, hey, is this a common theme that you guys don't let me speak whenever I'm asked something
Sorry.
and I
Speak,
start
speak. I'll be
talking?
quiet.
Thank you. So I've been supporting WikiLeaks, for example, from the very beginning. One of the reasons why I even have problems with the United States is that I've been a major funder of WikiLeaks because when they invaded Iraq based on lies, I got involved and I wanted to help the people to understand what's actually happening, why the US is doing that, and how evil it is. So this is how I got into problems with the US in the first place. I got on their radar because I was supporting WikiLeaks. Just as
Okay,
a little
so
bit of background.
let me be clear with this. This is what you're saying. You're saying that it's because of some WikiLeaks support nobody gave a fuck about before then, and it's not actually your platform being used to spread child porn and millions of dollars of media. That's what you're saying? It's a government conspiracy. It's not that.
Well, I don't know what child porn has to do with any of this, but
Oh,
I just
it's only extremely illegal, and one of the main reasons the feds go after anybody internationally. But sure, yeah, let's just say it's Iraq and.
I have not been charged with anything that has anything to do with child porn, so I don't know why you are bringing this up. It
Oh,
makes no
you're
sense.
facing extradition though, and wait till you get there.
Okay, well, that sounds very reasonable. Anyway, do you guys want to understand what I was trying to explain to you about US debt and why
Yes,
I
please
think
do. Kim, just keep in mind, I'm an economist, so go ahead. I want to have a laugh.
Asked you about German energy policy. That was the original question.
No, I
you know,
was asked
energy
about
is
the
more
tweet
important
that I made,
than the
right?
Yeah,
genocide.
let's start with the tweet, because whatever Kim was saying about the energy policy was just the same old bullshit that we've heard before, and I'm kind of tired deciphering it or dissecting it. So let's hear something new. But talking about Kim, let me make. I don't want to interrupt you. I'll let you speak. I'm gonna promise that. So when you start talking about the United States, finish your spiel about the United States. We'll have a laugh, and then I really want you to talk about Russia too, and I want to hear how Russia is going to outlast the entire West. Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay. So, anyone who's here in the room listening right now, you can go to usdebtclock.org. That's a website that shows you in real time the debt of the United States. usdebtclock.org. When you look at it, you'll see that US total debt is at $92 trillion. And in the bottom right, you see US unfunded liabilities is at $171 trillion. So when you look at the total US national asset, which is at the bottom left, that is what everyone in the United States owns. This is every business, this is every house, every piece of land, all deposits in the bank. That is the total amount of assets that are available in the United States. But if you combine the US unfunded liabilities and the total US debt, you realize that the amount of debt is higher than all the assets in the United States combined. And that is why I'm saying, is there a reason there's
Lunchtime.
music playing?
Lunchtime. Let him talk, because I'm taking notes.
So this is why I'm saying it's just a matter of time for the US to default on this debt. And the reason why we are in a world of crisis is because the US is struggling to find a way to stop its empire from collapsing. And when you look at the actual data, the actual numbers, the US is already bankrupt. And fighting wars in foreign lands, including this proxy war that it's set up with
So
Russia.
sorry, Kim. Okay, we get it.
Bingo.
So I'm sorry. We
Hey,
we
you
get
gotta let
it.
him speak.
No. So the United States is fucked economically, according to Kim. Let's move on to Russia.
But we are civilian people. Let him speak out.
Yeah,
What's the
yeah. Let
problem?
him speak,
I would
man.
really like to explain my point, because maybe when you understand me a bit better, you'll understand why I'm tweeting what I'm tweeting.
No,
You know,
Kim,
I'm
you're
not
just
doing it.
downright wrong about the U.S. economy,
No,
but I
I'm
want you
not.
to talk about
These
Russia.
are facts that you can
No,
all verify.
you
I've
are
just given you the
fucking
website where
warping
you
the
can do it.
narrative. You're breaking the narrative. So let's move on to Russia. I want you to talk about the Russian economy.
Yeah, but look, this is not how a civil conversation works, right?
Well, Kim, you're not answering the question. That's the problem. I'm asking
No,
you specifically.
your question was about
No,
my
No,
tweet.
Kim.
No, you asked me why I think that over time.
I am asking you a
That is what you
question
asked
about.
me. I mean,
I'm
everyone
asking
here in
you.
this room could
Well,
listen
Kim,
to your
no,
question, and
I
I'm
know I
replying to
interrupted
what you
you.
asked.
Now you're interrupting me. So this is how it's gonna go, I guess. So let's move on. The question that I'm asking is derived from the tweet that you wrote that implies that Russia is going to outlast the West. So now I'm asking you, how is it going to happen? You talked about the US economy. I gave you 3 or 4 minutes, maybe 5 minutes. We'll listen to your nonsense. Now I want to hear your nonsense about Russia. Talk about the Russian economy.
I'm actually really glad that you talk to me in this way, because I think there are some people here in this room who would like to hear what I have to say, and you're not even giving me the opportunity. You're
Sir,
treating
this
me
is a NAFO.
disrespectfully. And
Sir,
this is
is
not
a
how it
NAFO.
works.
We don't talk about the United States. We talk about Russia. So we'd be really interested to
Yeah, but in order
hear
to
about Russia,
understand
about your view of Russia and
yeah,
how
but
the
in
future
order
is
to
looking.
understand what's happening in Ukraine, you first need to understand what's happening in the United States. Because the United States is behind.
Can you speak
Kim,
to the history? Can
Sorry,
you speak to
does
the
anyone have
history?
any good recipes for salad?
Kim,
Can you speak to the history that existed before 2014 and Russian aggression over Ukraine? Like, I'm talking centuries worth, Kim. Would you speak to that, please?
I don't think that has anything to do with the situation that we are in now.
Really?
The situation that we're
It
in
has
now
everything
is
to do with it, you idiot.
no, let's not call him idiot because he wants that. I'm just gonna attack the points that Kim is saying. So if he's saying nonsense, I will say that it's nonsense, but I will not attack his intelligence or anything because it's quite possible that Kim is very smart. He's just being paid by Russia to say those points, or he's just taking a contrarian point to earn more followers,
okay. Just
which
to
is
be
fine.
clear, I'm not paid by Russia.
Which is
I've no
unfortunate because
financial
which is
interest in Russia.
unfortunate. You could
You
be
know, it
paid so
makes no
much,
sense.
Kim. You could be paid so much to say those things, and you're not even being paid, which is so sad.
He's a narcissist who thinks being a contrarian is equal to being intelligent. Why is anyone surprised? Look at his profile picture. He thinks he's the hottest shit since fucking sliced bread. It's comical.
Okay,
Well,
Kim.
I'm sorry, I
No,
don't have a
no.
funny
Big
looking
Sack,
dog
big
as a
big Sack.
profile picture. That's my
Yeah.
bad.
His profile picture is fine. I'll be honest with you. His profile picture has nothing to do with the things that he says. Hold on. We've got Rosalie coming up, and she's a huge specialist on disinformation. We're gonna have to cycle down someone.
I'll leave.
No,
I
we got her.
just approve Rosalie. It's all right. You had a spot since you're co-host.
So Rosalie, let me ask you this question now with Rosalie. Is the United States economically screwed? Do we just give up? Is the entire concept of GDP just gone?
I'm not an economist. I can't speak to that, but what I can say is that my family fled autocracy and they didn't go to Russia. They fled China. So, but that's all I can speak to, unfortunately.
All right, so here's why the entire US is fucked and there are not enough assets. There's just debts and all so on and so forth. It's just absolute nonsense because the United States has the largest GDP in the world. It has one of the highest GDP per capita, so this debt can be paid off over many years. And at the same time, the United States has the most powerful reserve currency in the world. So I'm kind of surprised that Kim did not mention that the United States has a petrodollar, which basically forces all of the countries in the world to ensure that trade is actually conducted in the United States, which is usually a point that Russian, good pro-Russian talkers actually use because there's some grants to it, and it's grounded in truth. So what does this mean? Nobody ever is going to give up the United States dollar. And it's in everyone's best interest that the United States economy remains afloat. So technically, the United States has unlimited access to the international borrowing market because the moment the United States economy collapses, the entire world collapses. And that includes China. And up until February 24th, that included actually Russia too. But Russia decided to unplug itself from the world economy. Rosalie, go ahead.
The one thing that I will say about the economy that I do understand is that foreign investors prefer in the US there is some rule of law. Now, of course, there are issues. We wouldn't pretend otherwise. But if recently China, there was massive amount of money that they were just deciding to hold on. And if you're willing to do that, that deters investors. So, and this is the case also with Russia. And because there is this lack of predictability, it's unlikely that we would see anything replace the dollar, particularly when you see these groups talk about BRICS as an alternative. Well, the problem there is that it's not clear what they're offering. They have an acronym, but China and Russia are the two countries that have come closest to nuclear war with each other. And they have a lot of weapons aimed at each other. And India and China don't get along. And when you have that isn't able to offer stability economically. And so in terms of my family, that's still not in the United States. They would very much like to be here.
All right, let me just correct a couple of things that were said earlier. So you talked about the US having the greatest GDP. The problem with that is that they didn't have a surplus in the last 50 years, right? They had 4 years of surplus, and the rest of the time they're just accumulating debt. So it's not a profitable economy. You know, they're printing more money, and being the reserve currency of the world means that they're printing the money on the expense of everyone else. That's why we have inflation, and that's why your money and the money of everyone around the world is becoming worth less and less. Does that make sense?
No, it makes no sense, but go ahead.
But that is how it is. And so
No,
the
it's not
US
how it
is,
is, but go ahead.
well, it is how it is because you can easily verify that, right? I can point you to statistics.
Kim, finish your points and then I'll answer to your nonsense. Just finish your points.
Yeah, okay. So my point is there's no surplus. The US is highly indebted. The only way it can raise money now is by printing more money, and it has been printing trillions of dollars every year, and it's unsustainable because the only way they could be printing this amount of money was because they had the reserve currency. But more and more central banks around the world are now walking away from the dollar, looking for an alternative assets because the US has been weakening the dollar so much because the only way it can raise money
Okay,
is by printing
Kim,
more
I'm
money.
sorry. I'm gonna time you because this is just old nonsense, and I've seen it just coming through the Russian telegram channels and Russian state propaganda nonstop, and I've seen it so many times. It's just getting old. Rosalie, go ahead, and I'll then follow up.
By the way, you're completely wrong with your statements, but I'm just letting you
No,
speak
no,
the
no,
word.
no, no. I'm not wrong, Kim.
No, you are.
You're done
You
right.
are.
Well, Kim, you
Marty,
do not understand economy. Rosalie, go ahead.
I do
if
not
I may,
understand economy. Okay.
I would like to ask him a question. And
Yeah,
I am asking in good faith. I'm not going to mock you or anything.
good.
Um,
Thank you.
uh, so your statement about inflation, I guess one of the things that I'm curious about is, so like right now globally we're seeing inflation in like a lot of countries. So Turkey's is really high. But even Hungary is at like 12%. A lot of countries in Europe we're looking at 10-15%. And so I guess my question is why would we see it globally, and how does that necessarily tie back to the United States in your view?
Well, because the US sets the benchmark on money printing, right? Other economies can't compete if they don't also print more money and make more investments. So by the US printing more and more money, they're basically setting in motion a global money printing frenzy. And everyone is basically saying in all these different countries, especially in Europe, if the US is doing it, well, then we have to do it too in order to remain competitive. And that has put the whole world on this course of self destruction where currencies become worth less and where we have more and more inflation, and the money that people
Kim,
have
I'm so
is
sorry.
worth
We'll
less.
have to stop you there. How
This
does
sounds pretty
Turkey
much like
printing?
censorship to me, dude.
No, it's
Do
not.
you
It's
not want
not.
to learn something here?
Oh
I mean,
my
I'm
God.
trying to give
Just
you
let him make a
No,
full
it's a
point,
valuable
You
man.
are
information.
spewing Russian nonsense, and
This
well,
is not
not even
Russian
Russian.
nonsense.
It's
This is
not even
my
please.
Russian. It's
own
your
knowledge.
nonsense. Let
Kim,
me
you were
ask you.
engaging in a slippery
Oh,
slope,
okay.
Kim.
Okay.
What I think.
I'm gonna mute you, everyone. I just need to ask one single question to Kim, and I want him to respond because I'm trying to have a controlled conversation. If you want to call it censorship, fine. This is a Twitter space. It's Twitter censorship, but it's fine. We're still platforming him. We're still giving him time to speak, and so on and so forth. So the question is, how does Turkey printing more liras is caused by the United States printing more dollars? How does that make any sense? Kim, go ahead. Kim. Kim, so why is Erdogan printing more liras? Is it caused by the United States printing dollars?
Kim, you need to unmute. You see on the bottom left of your screen, there's a little microphone icon. You need to click it until it's purple.
I wasn't muted, so someone muted me.
Yeah, that
And
was
you.
me.
Oh, great! Wow, how nice. Thank you.
Yeah, I mute. No, the thing is, I muted everyone because everyone starts speaking at the same time, and I had to mute everyone.
Well, the only one who keeps speaking and interrupting me is you, but I'm happy to speak now if you will not mute me again.
I might, just a warning, but go ahead.
Yeah, I think you're not a great host, by the way. It's not very
Oh,
kind.
I never
But
claimed to be one.
what I would like to do is answer the question of that wonderful person earlier about why we have this inflation everywhere in the world, right? So can I go ahead and do that?
Yes, go ahead.
Fantastic. So because of this money printing frenzy that is going on in all economies around the world, we see global inflation. Because the more money supply you have, the less value the money has, and the more the products cost that you need to buy, or the goods and services that you need to buy, and also the less value you have with everything you own. So if you own a house or an apartment or a car, everything drops in
Excuse me, is
value
this the
because of
person who
inflation.
thinks that we are CIA animals? Oh,
Yeah, no, Alona, let him answer, but
okay. Oh,
Kim,
sorry.
you're still not answering the question. Why is Erdogan printing more liras, and how is it caused by the United States printing more dollars? You are not answering the question. That's why I have to
No, I
interrupt you.
am, but I'm
No, you're
getting
not.
interrupted. You know, it's not as simple as putting it into 20 seconds. Like, this is a 5-minute topic that I need
No, it's not. It's a
to explain
1 minute
it.
answer.
No, it's not. It's literally
I'm
not.
gonna
It's
limit you
way
to
more
1
complicated.
minute.
Well, then I can't answer the question. I'm sorry.
You're a smart man. You should
Erdogan
summarize
is,
it quick.
if you're smart, exactly. I work in academia. Any paper can be summarized in 30 seconds.
Well, then give me another question if you can't bear my too long answer.
I had a question earlier. You never answered it.
Yeah, what is it?
So hold on. Okay, let's forget about the United States and the United States dollar. I'd like you to explain me and everyone in this wonderful space how the Russian economy is going to outlast the West, despite all of these sanctions, and I'm gonna give you 5 minutes.
Oh, thank you. That is very generous. So, what we know for sure is that the US sanctions with their Western partners really haven't had much effect on Russia so far, right? The oil revenues are going up because the oil price has been going up.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry, Kim. I have to interrupt you again
Guys,
because
come on.
the oil prices actually went down, natural gas prices
Yeah.
went down.
This
The
is
Russian budget is actually shrinking. They self-reported those numbers. It went down in August by
guys.
26%. So Kim, you're not answering the
I'm
question. You're
sorry.
just being an absolute
Marty, let me
spewing absolute
clarify.
nonsense.
Let me clarify a little bit, right? People like Kim, they are not going to present you with any credible information, right? So
This
this
is
guy,
not the point. This
but
is
the
not the
point is
point.
that we are very grateful to have him with us in the space, but equally, like, let's not, it's important to not let disinfo people hijack your space to spread
Well,
more
he's
lies.
not hijacking the space because there are a lot of listeners in here. I don't
Of
want to
course
make
he's
sure
not.
that
I'm
whatever
here.
he
How
says
can he
is
hijack
nonsense.
something?
You know, the beautiful thing is all of this here is recorded, right? So you can
Yeah.
go later and fact check everything that I said.
Oh yeah, I'm fact checking live. Don't worry, Kim.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you
Why
don't
don't you
really
fact
seem
check
to
your
have a
tweets
big,
from
you don't
today?
really seem to have a grasp of facts. But what I'm
Kim.
telling you
Oh
is
no, Kim.
easy
I'm
to
sorry. You don't have a
verify.
grasp of reality. That's
I'm
the
sorry.
Hey,
problem.
how about you fact check that you're a
Hey,
fucking bitch? How about
how
that?
about we
No, no,
all
no,
calm
I
no.
down?
We'll not do that, Alex. We'll not do that. But
all I'm saying
all
is
I'm
that
saying is that he doesn't
we
have a grasp of reality. He's just spewing absolute nonsense, and he would benefit a lot from opening an Econ 101 book. So, Kim, I'm so sorry. I'm gonna remove you from speakers because
No,
you are.
keep him. No, 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 no,
Wait,
no,
no,
please.
Wait,
Kimmy,
wait,
hear
No.
me
wait.
out. Hear me
Okay,
out.
fine. You're still
Speak
not done.
him.
All I
Thank
want to
you.
say is that you
Kim,
should
I'm
just,
out
we
there
all know he's
fighting for
pronouncing
you.
nonsense.
You've been silenced, you know. I'm fighting to have your voice on this platform.
Well,
He's
I
been pronouncing
appreciate it.
nonsense. We all know that, but I think we should just let him walk into a trap. We all know it's bullshit. Just let the man speak, even if it's retarded. Just do it.
No, we're not gonna use offensive words. It's fine. We'll just say that Kim is pronouncing nonsense.
Apologies, I'm abrasive. My bad. Really, honestly.
Chatting utter tosh in Scottish.
So here's what I hope is going to happen with me being here, right? What I hope is going to happen is that there's, quite a few people here listening to this right now, and everyone, I think, here has some decency, right? So you are going to listen to this, and you're going to get out
I
of this
don't.
out of this space, and you're going to say, well, maybe this guy has a point. Maybe there's something to it. Maybe
Your
we shouldn't be
point is
treating
that
him like
I'm
this,
a Shiba
right?
Inu dog who is run by
Because
Ukrainian intelligence
because
services and the US. And
You're a
everybody
very
knows that
round
CIA
man. There's
doesn't
no points on you.
exist. Come on.
the CIA doesn't
Bonk.
exist.
Of course it doesn't. You didn't know?
It's a bit rich to talk
Yeah,
about
that's
Come
Yeah,
on,
man, the
people
man.
who
CIA
deny
isn't real.
genocide
And you
What are
are
you
things, don't
talking
you
talking to me
about?
think?
about
It's a
fact
bit
checking
pathetic.
and you don't know stuff like that.
Okay, then let me ask you why the former head of the CIA, Pompeo, has just announced that he's running for president if the CIA doesn't exist. Like, who was he
Oh my
heading
God,
then?
Kim, you're being trolled. Don't you
What
realize?
Yeah,
organization was he
we're
Do
heading?
you
listening
know
to
that
Joe's
I'm
What?
talk,
running for
dummy.
president as well?
Look, I don't think the CIA exists, and they pay me, for God's sake.
Boomer warning. He has no idea what a troll is.
I have to thank you, Kim, for bringing so much audience to what's in practice kind of your public humiliation. So it's quite interesting. I feel like many people here want to ask questions to
The funny
Kim.
thing is, you think I'm being humiliated,
And
but
we are
me
being
coming
right.
here.
No,
Yeah.
Hey, let me
yourself
just
you're
say
arguing
this.
with a bunch of
Can I
dumb
say
garbage.
one thing without you jumping on me? So you're saying I'm being humiliated, right? But
Only
me
if it's
being
not
here right
boring.
now, the way you are treating me, you are humiliating yourself.
Why should we treat you
No, no,
well?
no, no, no.
I'm not entirely sure.
Listen,
Because
calling
we are
you
all
a
we are
dumbass is
all
not
human
humiliating you. We're just
beings.
like,
Okay, sorry, but this is what's happening here. Kim, you are not being humiliated. You're pronouncing nonsense, and we're just pointing out that you're pronouncing utter nonsense. And as I said before, you would benefit a lot from opening an Econ 101 book and actually reading it. I don't know if you're actually being actively paid, or you actually like taking a contrarian point, or you're an absolute idiot. I'm sorry, I actually had to use that word because the nonsense that you're pronouncing is unbelievable, and it's unfortunate that so many people actually follow you. I don't know if it's real or not, but it's unfortunate, but it's not shocking because there are many stupid people out there. So I'm gonna unmute everyone. So Rosalie, I actually want to hear what you've got to say.
I'll quickly jump in and say that for someone who's got almost 1 million followers, you really don't get a lot of likes on these posts.
Whoa, that's true.
Go on, Rosalie.
I just forgot to put my hand down. I don't have anything to say. My apologies.
Okay, Kim, let's move on. So we realize that you don't understand economy, and which is fine. It's fine. Let's move on to the other part of your narrative where you think that the current full-scale invasion of Russia into Ukraine is a proxy war. Please explain how it is a proxy war, and do you even understand the concept? Well, let's first hear your definition of a proxy war.
Okay, so I will give it another attempt. Can we agree, though, that you let me finish?
Well, if you're gonna go on for more than 2 minutes, I will not let you finish. Give me a definition of proxy war. So that's the first question.
So, when you do a coup d'etat in a foreign country and you install a new government that is enacting policies that are anti-Russian, that are causing an
Hold
inflammation
on. No,
in,
Kim. Kim, I asked you for a very abstract definition of a proxy war,
and you started going
I'm
into
giving you
anti-Russian.
I'm giving
So
you
no,
my
Kim,
answer.
Kim. I asked you for an
Wait,
abstract
sorry.
definition of a
When you
proxy war.
who installed what government where, and what coup d'etat are we talking about?
No, wait, Alona. We
Well,
are
let me
asking.
answer that because
We're
there
not
seems to
talking.
Please
be
let
some
him answer
interest.
this. I'm
No,
Ukrainian.
There
Let
seems
him
I
answer
have to
this, please.
clarify a thing. I'm asking
all
for
right.
an
There
abstract
seems to be some
definition of a proxy
interest
war.
here.
No,
You know,
okay,
it
please. I
seems to
want to
be
hear.
that.
Okay, go ahead, KimDotCom.
Yeah, thank you. So I clearly see you have some interest, and I would like to give you this explanation, right? Because I think it's important for everyone in this room to understand where this conflict actually
It's not a
started.
conflict. It's a war and
No,
it's genocide.
yeah,
So
we've already clarified
that's
it's a
already
war.
not
So,
fact checked.
By the way, a war is a conflict. Okay, it's the same thing, right?
conflict is a varying degree.
Let me explain to you, please, what a difference is. Conflict implies there is two parties at stake, and each of them, to some degree, has a responsibility for what is happening. Now, the invasion of Ukraine by Russia has been completely unprovoked. So it's important to use correct wording. It's a war, unprovoked Russian invasion of Ukraine.
Yeah, the
Okay,
only
so
problem
hold
is,
on.
the only problem with that statement.
Okay, I have to mute everyone because it's becoming a shit show. Again, Kim, I'm asking you a very specific question. Give me an abstract definition of a proxy war or a proxy conflict, whichever way you want to formulate it. You have to give it in a very abstract way. You cannot give me any Ukraine or Russia bullshit. Give me an abstract definition, not associated with a specific country. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Kim, you have to unmute yourself.
Okay, I have been muted again.
I
So
muted everyone.
let me try again. In order to understand what a proxy war is, you just need to look at the coup d'etat that happened with the Maidan.
Okay, Kim, you are not answering the question. I specifically told you to give me an abstract definition of a proxy war, not going into specifics of Ukraine or Russia. You're not hearing me. Give me an abstract definition. Go ahead, you have to unmute yourself. I will mute you again if you are not going to answer my question. The question is like as if I'm trying to find a definition of a proxy war in Encyclopedia Britannica. It's not going to give me an example of Ukraine. It's not going to give me any examples. It'll just give me a political definition of a proxy war. So please give me your understanding of a proxy war without going into specifics of Ukraine or Russia. Please go ahead.
Well, if you just want to have a definition of proxy war, just Google it and you will find your answer, right? But I'm here to give you the context about the Ukraine.
Again, I muted you. You know why? Because it is important for me to know your understanding of a proxy war or a proxy conflict. I don't care what Google tells me because it could be false. It could be false. And you're such an intelligent man, you might actually have a better definition of a proxy war. So I want to hear it as if I'm opening encyclopedia KimDotCom. Go ahead, but please don't go into specifics of Ukraine or Russia. It needs to be abstract.
Well, the one-liner that Google gives you is a war instigated by a major power which does not itself become involved. That is a proxy war.
Okay, so let's move on. Please give me now, apply that to the specifics of Ukraine, Russia, and Maidan. And you'll have to provide evidence. You cannot cite any kind of documentaries like from Oliver Stone.
Well, I mean, that is a good basis with quite a bit of evidence, right? I mean,
no, it's not. It is not.
Flagship propaganda bullshit.
Absolute bullshit.
You realize that Oliver Stone is an American
He is a
director.
flagship
Yeah, he's an
Russian
American that
asset.
doesn't know anything.
Literal Kremlin parrot.
You do realize that he's American, right?
It
Wait,
doesn't
It doesn't
matter.
matter.
Literally, it
The thing
makes
is,
no
Oliver
difference.
Stone has direct ties to the Kremlin. He produced a number of propaganda movies for Russia. So, Kim, I don't understand
So
how you can.
I don't think that an interview with Vladimir Putin, which he's done for 4 hours,
It is
is
a propaganda
propaganda.
movie. It is propaganda.
Kim,
So,
I'm sorry to interrupt, yeah, but with the statements, with the logical reasoning or the lack of it, probably would be better description. With the kind of logic that you're using, I'm really concerned about your analytical abilities. So I'm not sure you should be writing threads with kind of
Well,
your
then
takes
explain
on
to
stuff.
me why is Oliver Stone a Russian asset? I would really like to
Because
understand that.
all he says is Russian narratives, Russian propaganda. That's
besides,
totally why.
Kim, I
I mean, you could
explicitly
just
told
Google
you.
this, Kim. It's widely
Oh,
discredited and
hold
it's
on. I've
widely
got an
available.
important announcement. I'm gonna mute everyone. I'm gonna cycle through some speakers because we've got a ton of requests. I'm gonna remove someone. Unfortunately, who doesn't have hands up right now? Somtalk is probably gonna be you. Sorry. And the reason I'm doing it because we've got Walter joining us. And technical difficulties. Come on. Arthur, can you cycle through? There we go.
Yeah.
All right. Hello, Walter. How are you doing?
Hey, what's up, Maddie? Hi, Alona.
Hi, Walter.
So we've got Kim in here, and we are experiencing a lot of hot takes right now in Ukraine.
Yeah, I can imagine. What's next on the Kim's menu?
Well, we're currently discussing how Oliver Stone movies are actually good evidence on what actually happened on the Maidan in 2013, 2014. But unfortunately, it's not evidence because it's just a piece of shit propaganda. So I'm asking him to provide direct evidence, but he keeps citing the movie.
Oh, pretty cool. Yeah, I've been there, seen that with my own eyes, with people being killed and all of that. So, but I believe Kim knows better, right?
All right, Kim. So again, how is the Russian invasion of Ukraine a proxy war?
All right, so let's just assume for a moment that 2014 was a coup d'etat.
Why should you assume
No,
it?
we're not gonna assume
No,
that. We're not gonna
that's
assume
not how it
that.
works, my dear. At all. We don't just assume things. We actually verify them. That's how it works with fact checking that you're passionate about.
Okay.
So
You have heard the recording of Victoria Nuland.
I don't need to
basically
listen to
picking.
recordings. I'm actually like,
Well,
I've
isn't
lived
that
through things.
Circumstantial evidence,
the kind
that's
of
not direct
evidence that you are
evidence.
looking for?
Okay, we're not gonna be screaming at each other, but KimDotCom just brought up another interesting Russian talking points, specifically Nuland's. I'm gonna let either Alona or Walter cover that specific points, and no one please interrupt them. Otherwise, I will be free from speakers. Go ahead, one of you.
I'll give it a try. Before maybe Alona wants to touch on Nuland. The only thing I want to say that calling Ukrainian Revolution of Dignity a coup was a standard Russian tactic and Russian propaganda tactic to smear something good that happened in our country since 2014, specifically to smear the moment that was very much a pain in the ass for Russians, because at that point the Russian grip essentially faltered and they started to fall apart, at least their puppets that were in Ukraine. So regardless, the term coup by itself implies a violent seizure of power. And that's not what happened in Ukraine in 2013, because there was no violent seizure of power, because the parliament remained in place. The parliamentaries who were elected prior to that, 357 of them, if I recall correctly, they did remain in place and they voted. The parliament wasn't stormed, or the governmental institutions of the executive power or of the parliament itself haven't been stormed. So there was no seizure per se. Just after the tide has shifted and the protests essentially pushed away the police force and riot police that was killing protesters and was being essentially ordered by the previous president, he himself chickened out, literally, and fled for Russia. This is what happened, and then there was a peaceful transition of power because he was essentially impeached, because he was absent and not there after fleeing. And basically, that's how the power transitioned peacefully without violent seizure. So there was no coup per se. However, what Russian propaganda tries to constantly inject in a weird way is that it was a coup. So whenever you hear the term coup attached to Ukrainian Revolution of Dignity, you should know that that particular individual who is using that narrative is a Russian asset, or using Russian assets narrative. Pretty much it.
Beautiful. Alona, you've got anything to add?
I do. I would recommend to, first of all, to be saying, to be calling the Revolution of Dignity a coup d'etat in the presence of Ukrainians is a huge insult, because it's something that is sacred to us. It's something that there are things in life that you will not do for any amounts of money, and one of them includes being ready to die. In 2015, every morning, I was abroad at the time. Most of it, I visited the Maidan briefly, but unfortunately, I spent most of the time away. And my every morning would start from checking the list. Like every morning, they would publish lists of people who were killed last night, and I would go open the list and see if my friends were on the list. And my friends would be sending me messages from there saying that they were trying to fight with the riot police, and they were getting shot, and this shitty, I forgot the word in English, shields, right? They were made of carton, and they were being shot with real bullets. So if you're going to tell me that all those people were doing it for any kind of someone paid them, it's just not acceptable, okay? And then the other day I watched this, I rewatched this documentary on Netflix. It's called Winter on Fire. And one of the quotes from there I really like. It said something like, how much do you need to piss off people that one of the dentists and one of the most respected attorneys in Lviv go together to Hrushevskoye Street to throw stones at the police? Yeah, so to us, it very quickly it stopped being about like the EU agreements, about anything else. It was about the fact that the government the state cannot disperse a peaceful protest. It's one of the core and freedom of protest as well is one of the core values in our culture. And also you need to understand that under the constitution of Ukraine, the only source of power is the Ukrainian people. It's not the president, it's not the prime minister, it's the Ukrainian people who are the ultimate source of power, and it's only us who can choose our elected representatives. And if they stop representing our interests, that's what democracy is, right? You have a system where you elect someone to go and represent your interests, on a state level or on a lower level. And if they stop representing your interests, then they have to go. And if they don't go, then you make them go. And that is the most democratic thing in my eyes. The Revolution of Dignity was the most democratic thing, that happened in Ukraine, well, up to that point. So it's just complete nonsense, everything that you say about it. And if you consider yourself, I don't know, a decent human being, you earlier told somebody he's not a great host, he's a great host. The question is whether you are a good person, I think.
So I
Okay,
believe
can
the
I
next
reply
on the
to that?
platter
I
is
would really love to reply to
biolabs,
that
right,
if I am
Kim?
giving the opportunity.
Okay, so yes, we'll move on to Rosalie, but a quick note that I wanted to add, Walter and Alona didn't cover, is the fact that Yanukovych was a direct Russian asset. He was a pro-Russian president who tried to drag Ukraine away from the aspirations of joining the European Union, and he tried to join the atrocious Eurasian Economic Union, which is basically an extension of Russian colonialism. Of course, everyone here is going to be surprised who came along with Kim. What the hell is the Eurasian Economic Union? Well, go look it up. It's just another Russian colonial tool for extracting rents and gains from the neighboring countries. So we'll go to Rosalie next, and then we'll let Kim continue.
So, I wasn't there in when the Revolution of Dignity happened, but I did know somebody, and a lot of people in this room also knew him. His name was Roman, and he went there to when he was just a teen, and it was because he believed in a free Ukraine, and he was beaten by the police. And Roman fought every day until the Russians killed him a couple weeks ago. And he believed in a free Ukraine. And I know what it's like when your family is afraid of the government, when they're afraid. And that's what Roman and his family didn't want to live under. And so I'm asking, how can you not see that regardless of what was happening around Ukraine, that the people wanted to be free and no one needed to tell them that they were. No one needed to make them fight.
Rosalie, you broke up at the end.
Just that no one needed to make them fight for it. Just like no one needed to make my family situation.
Before we let Kim answer Rosalie's question, a little admin note. If you send me a DM with nasty words, I will block you. And the thing is, when I block you, you automatically get booted from the space. So if you don't want to be here, please send me a nasty message and you'll immediately leave the space. Kim, go ahead.
If you need any advice on how to block people, I have some experience.
Oh, I'm sure you do. Go ahead, Kim. Answer Rosalie's question.
So anyway, first of all, I just heard the touching story about this individual that you knew, and
Roman Ratushny, yes.
And I'm absolutely sorry about that. Like, I don't want to come across like I don't see
Have
the
you
suffering.
considered? I'm sorry.
Can I just
No, you
once
cannot.
say what I want to say?
No,
Just
you
once.
cannot say what you want to say. Have you considered
I
if
was
you're so
actually
sorry?
trying to be kind to
I
you.
actually do not care. So have you considered if you're so
Wow.
sorry about his death, to stop, to stop calling the Revolution of Dignity a coup d'état, and to stop calling the war in Ukraine a proxy war? That would be very respectful of you, don't you think?
Well, if you want, I explain to you why I'm calling it a proxy war and why I think that the
You struggled today to explain to us what a proxy war is in the first place.
No, I didn't struggle at all. I was just
think you
trying to
struggled
explain
so
it my
much.
way, and I wasn't allowed to explain it the way I would like to. So anyway, the point that I was trying to make earlier is, can you explain to me why a government official from the United States picked the leader of Ukraine after the Maidan revolution. How does that work?
That's your opinion, man. Like, I don't know what deep recess of your rectum you were pulling this from, but again,
It's
this is
actually
like
out there.
completely
It's a
completely weird.
it's a recording
Why do
of
unicorns
Victoria
have pink
Nuland.
hair?
It's
Let the
Why
man
do
hardcore
speak.
evidence.
unicorns have pink hair? It's a genuine question.
So my genuine question is, why is it not a problem for anyone here that a U.S. government official
Why
picked
why
the
do unicorns
Ukrainian
have pink
leader
hair?
after
Please,
the
I need
Maidan?
to know.
Sorry,
Why do unicorns have
I
pink hair? It's
can't
a
hear you when
simple
you talk
question.
over me.
Of
When you
course
talk over me, I can't
Oh
hear you.
no,
So
poor thing.
Okay, I'm so sorry. Kim, you're asking a question. Why a government official, or specifically the acting head of Ukraine, acting president of Ukraine, was picked by the U.S. government? The answer is simple. Oh my God, I forgot his name, but it's a bald guy. He was not picked by the United States, and whatever evidence you're providing, as Walter correctly pointed out, is pulled out of your rectum. Unfortunately, those are crass words, but they seem to be true. All right, Kim, any other questions?
He still hasn't answered a question I asked him like 30 minutes ago, which was he keeps talking about proxy war this, proxy war that. I want to hear him address the historic oppression that Russia has pushed on Ukraine for 6 centuries, please.
can I talk?
Yeah, of course.
Will you address that question?
All right,
please?
first I need to finish at least a single point here, and then we can move on to the next topic.
No, Kim,
No,
that's
you
not how
don't.
it
You
works.
don't.
This is a space where host
This is
defines.
a
Imagine.
space where
Yeah.
you are setting the
This is
rules,
not a
and
democracy.
anyone
Yes,
can
we are
say,
setting the
if
rules.
you
Exactly.
don't
This
like
is a
what I'm
NATO
Imagine,
doing,
not
just
space.
you.
shut me down
Oh my
because
God,
you
you
can't
are not
cope.
setting the rules here. Yeah.
Who is
Kim,
in need of
This
Kim,
is how
copium
don't
Russia
play
here?
and
the
China
victim.
works.
Who
Honestly,
has the
Kim,
copium
This is how
listen
problem
here.
Russia
here?
and China
Kim,
works. This
don't
is not a
play the
democracy.
victim. Don't play the
Kim,
victim. Just stick to the
look.
point.
Kim, look at my last name. You should know that I'm not a Democrat. So, yeah, if you feel like doxing me, go ahead. I'm not fucking hiding. Anyway, Kim, the reason we do not let you finish your answers to any single question because you start off talking about absolute nonsense. And unfortunately, this is a NAFO space. When we hear nonsense, we start bunking. So
Yep.
now, Lviv's question.
I
Please answer it.
appreciate the acknowledgement that you are not letting me answer a single question. So
Oh
go
yeah,
ahead.
of course. I
That's
specifically
the
me,
ultimate job,
specifically
Klaus.
me. I'm not letting you answer a single question because your answers are bullshit.
But
My
shouldn't we let him
answers
answer
are
bullshit?
verifiable facts that anyone can look
Oh no,
up.
you have not provided a
The
single
internet that you are
verifiable
using
fact.
is at your
Yeah,
disposal, and you
no,
can
Kim,
educate yourself, please.
No, Kim, you really need to educate yourself. So now let's move on to the next question, specifically Lviv's question. Let's talk about your knowledge of history. What do you know about Ukraine's history over the past? We're not gonna go too far. Let's just talk about the Soviet era, starting from I wanted to say 1917, but you're probably gonna talk about it, all the other imperial nonsense. So let's start with 1922. Go ahead. Do you know of the relationship between Moscow and Ukraine?
Sorry, I just had to unmute myself again because you muted me again.
Yep.
So here's
He
here's the
literally
thing.
muted everyone.
Yeah,
I
maybe
did
you
this
shouldn't do
time.
that. It's okay. I can remain quiet because I don't talk over people, so you don't need to mute me. That's okay.
Oh, you do talk over people.
But here's the point. There's no relevance in my mind to anything that happened prior to the Maidan.
I muted you again. Yes, I muted everyone again. Well, anyone who's studying geopolitics or does study foreign relations knows that first and foremost, any academic who's doing who specializes in foreign relations is first and foremost a historian. So whatever you just mentioned is absolute nonsense. Again, I'm so sorry. But if you continue down this line, we'll just move on to a different question. I just unmuted everyone.
You know, I just have to say that you're actually doing me the biggest favor in the way you are handling this conversation in this room, because you're making my point that you guys are really useful idiots and that you are not interested in learning anything about the facts, about what's going
Sorry, did
on
you just come to
with
teach me
this.
about Ukraine? Excuse
Yeah,
me.
exactly.
I'm
He's
so
trying
Well,
grateful for the
to
I'm just
conversation.
explain to
providing
us
you.
what happened
Guys,
in
thank you
Yeah,
Ukraine.
so
exactly.
much,
I'm
Kim.
just
I
providing you
would
with
not know
information that you
anything
don't seem to
about
understand.
Ukraine. I would not know anything about Ukraine without dudes online. Every day they bring me some hyperlinks. Some people bring Wikipedia articles, and I'm always just so thankful because what would I know without them as a Ukrainian person born and raised in Ukraine? What would I know about Ukraine and about what actually happened without people who have never ever been there, who have never learned the history of my country and do not speak the language of my country? Those are the real experts, and I'm so happy that there is people out there, Western experts, people, some people in academia, in the media, Reuters, also, the biggest Russian propaganda fake news agency. They just, they do so much to kind of educate
Ocean
the world.
88 triggered.
By him, according to himself, I'm chatting utter tosh, as he would say. But yeah, I'm just so thankful that there is people out there who teach Ukrainians every day about what Ukraine is like. To be honest, I cannot imagine having the arrogance and the audacity to be doing that to people from other countries. Like, I can't imagine that someone would be going through genocide and I would be out there lecturing them and telling them that it's actually like a proxy war what's happening in their country. To be doing what you are doing, Kim, I wouldn't call it I don't even know what word to describe it, but it's really outstanding in not in a good way.
Yeah,
So
hold up before Kim starts to explain what actually happened on Maidan, because apparently he knows better, right? Better than people who were actually there and have seen that with their own eyes, because Kim has read that somewhere on the internet, and now he knows and has an opinion that he wants to convey to us. How gracious! Thank you, Kim.
Listen,
I wouldn't like believe it if I haven't seen it with my own eyes. But I guess well, Kim knows better.
I will promise I'll be quiet after this. I just have one simple question, and I'd just like to let Kim explain this. If you could do me a favor, even if he's pronouncing nonsense, just hear me out. Kim, were the bodies in Bucha placed or in any way staged by Ukraine? I want to hear a yes or no, and I don't want to hear any interruptions from anybody. I want to just simply hear his explanation, please.
The very simple answer is I don't know.
That's
Okay,
all?
that's enough. Okay, so Kim doesn't know. Apparently, bodies just yeah. Kim, you're a beautiful Russian asset, by the way, and I'm sure the FSB and the SVR appreciate your existence. But even if you're not paid by them, you're still an asset. By the way, we have a list, and I was the one who put you on the list. I had you on the radars for a long time. Again, I'd like to make an announcement. If you're gonna send me a message that contains utter bullshit, I will block you and you will immediately disappear from the space. I just got a message. Someone with a handle that contains Wagner that tries to defend you, Kim. Anyone who knows Wagner knows that they're absolute shitheads and absolute Nazis. So you've got actual Nazis supporting you, Kim. How do you like that?
Well, I'm not here to gain any support from any Nazis. I'm here to listen to you guys and to share my opinion, but I don't think you are very interested in it.
And you're
No, don't
completely
worry,
right.
Kim.
We are not
Like
interested in it whatsoever.
playing, I'm not interested in your opinions. I'm just here to demonstrate how to deconstruct every single Russian talking point. And you're just a beautiful example of someone who's just repeating every single one of them. And I'm sure Rosalie
No,
is
no
having a lot.
offense. No offense.
No, no. You cannot talk over me because I'm a co-host, and as people have noted before, this is not a democracy. This is a NAFO space. Yeah, I'm sure Rosalie is having a nice laugh, and we see a lot of speaker requests. Unfortunately, I see Albert in there. I'd love to get him up, but I see a lot of people that I've never seen before, so they're probably not gonna go up. Anyway, I'm gonna unmute everyone now. Please be civil.
Let's
I
vote
can
for
leave
the
if you need a
next talking
space.
point. I vote for biolabs if Kim hasn't addressed extensively this interesting Russian propaganda talking point, but I believe he has a lot to say about the mysterious biolabs in Ukraine. Go ahead, Kim.
Yes, no, I would love to talk about biolabs, but can I have a minute?
Sure, go ahead. What do you want to talk about?
Sure. So, what we know from Senate hearings in the United States is that the US has been funding gain of function research at the Wuhan lab in China. It's
Oh my God, I'm sorry I had to mute you. I was laughing so hard. What does Wuhan and China have to do with anything? Well, it's been proven that Chinese biolabs said we're not funded by the United States. So let's talk about biolabs in Ukraine. Please, let's talk about biolabs in Ukraine.
in order to understand biolabs in Ukraine, you first have to understand.
Kim,
You
this is
first
not
have
how
to
it works.
understand.
This is not
This
how
is
it works.
exactly how it works.
No,
I'm
it doesn't
explaining
work
it to
that
you
way.
in a
It
way
doesn't
that
work
anyone
that
can
way,
understand.
Kim.
Yes.
The
Oh
thing
my
is,
God.
you're conflating a whole bunch of talking points, and you
No,
start
I'm not
cycling through
conflating
the
anything.
entire
I'm
world.
explaining. I'm
It's like
explaining to
it's like
you that
talking
the
about
U.S.
how to get. Okay, so let me tell you what he's doing. He's not even being a refined Russian troll. He's talking about one thing, and he tries to get to. Let's put it this way. I'm trying to get him talk about how to get from point A to point B, and instead of taking me from point A to point B, he takes me to point X, then he takes me to point Y, and he takes me to point Z. And the reason he's doing it because he's trying to confuse everyone. And if you listen for long enough, you will get confused. That's why I interrupt him.
I
Okay,
gotta.
Walter.
You know, I actually, I have to say, I really appreciate you running the room like this, because
Oh, I'm very
anyone
happy that
who's
you appreciate it.
listening, anyone who's listening to this will think you are a complete nutter, and you are
Oh yeah,
really
I am
not
a
a
nutter.
good host,
I'm
because the
fucking
way you are
crazy.
handling
For
me,
the
you're
record.
cutting me off, you're shutting me down at every turn. You don't even give me 10
Don't
seconds
play
to
To be
speak.
victim.
fair, Kim,
You know,
Do
and
not
you
play
don't even
victim.
want to
I am
have a
actually
single
nuts.
explanation.
All right, that one was me, and it's the first time I've muted
So
you.
wait, the
Listen,
truth is that you guys
you
are
just unmuted
scared.
yourself. I'm gonna mute you again, okay? Because this is how the room works, right? And I'm gonna say that the reason you keep not being able to talk is because people ask you questions, and you blabber on, and you try and spin your game, push your propaganda. Everyone in this room, anybody in NAFO, has watched Vatniks like you operate for 6 to 7 months, okay? We're all aware of all of your talking points. We've heard all of them, everything about Euromaiden, everything about the economy. I've heard it for fucking 6 months, Kim, and it doesn't work. So you sound like the very typical level 1 Vatnik that I run into all the time. And so you're not getting any respect in this space because you don't deserve it.
I have a respectful question to Kim, a short one. Kim, I'm trying to assess what happened. I mean, you were apparently born in some decent country, Western European, civilized, not the even second world country or whatever. You
I'm
had a
German.
decent. Oh, perfect. Well, you had a decent education, I assume. and all of
Yes.
that, and decent life. But then something happened in your life. Something cracked, and you became this mindless puppet reverberating Russian propaganda points. So I'm just trying to assume, what was this particular specific moment when you lost it and fell into this, spiraling down rabbit hole of nonsense? What was the exact
This
specific
is
moment in your
hilarious.
life? This is
You know,
the
I'm
very
the
specific
happiest
question.
person you will ever meet, and any of this description is just so laughable. You know, anyone who knows me and actually follows me for some time wouldn't even say anything like that because, you know,
Oh,
I'm
okay.
I'm
Hold
really,
hold on. I've got
really a
another
happy
question.
person.
Yeah, I'm sure you're a happy person. Actually, you
Yeah.
do sound like a happy person. You do.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, I'm not even being sarcastic. And I do appreciate that, at least that part about you. But was it the point when you were actually under fire for a Hitler-signed copy of Mein Kampf? Was it back in 2014, I think? Was it that turning point?
Okay. So at an auction, I bought three pieces of history. One was a cigar holder from Churchill, one was a pen from Lenin, and one was a book from Adolf Hitler. Simply to have these three items as a piece of history in my cabinet. That's all. I don't buy into any
So as a
Nazi
as a
idea. Wait
German
a minute. I know where
as a
you're
German
going with this. So I don't buy into
yeah
any Nazi ideology.
oh it is a Nazi
I'm not pro
ideology.
Hitler. I'm not pro Nazis. I'm not
Well, you bought a
at
signed
all.
copy of Mein Kampf
Yeah, because I'm interested in history, and like I said, I bought a
and to be
Churchill piece
honest,
and
I
a
wouldn't be
Just
asking
Lenin
that
piece
interested
as
in
question.
well.
history, but you don't know any history on Ukraine, which is
Yeah, that's
surprising to all of us in the room.
yeah, display, thank you.
Yeah,
So
I think the history that is
As a
relevant, I
German,
know.
no, I'm sorry. As a German, don't you think it's problematic to have a signed copy of Mein Kampf?
I don't think so at all because I don't buy into the ideology, so it doesn't matter.
As a Russian Jew, I take offense to that. Sorry.
Yeah, you can. That's fine. You know, people buy stuff from Genghis Khan, and he was the biggest slaughterer in the history. So, you know,
Okay, so
it's
again,
the way it is. It's
conflating
history.
different eras. It's interesting how your mind works. Anyway, so Walter wanted to talk about biolabs. We're gonna give you another chance to answer that specific question, specifically about the biolabs in Ukraine. And it has
Yeah,
nothing
to
to do with China.
understand,
Do not go into
no,
China. Start with Ukraine.
to understand biolabs in Ukraine, you first have to understand what the US is doing around the world with biolabs. Okay? The
Okay.
US is a signatory
Ooh.
to a number of treaties that prohibit the research and creation of bioweapons. So, what does the US do? They go outside of their own jurisdiction and use foreign labs to do that research because they still want to do bioweapon research. So, in
I'm so sorry. I muted it again. So the United States is indeed a signatory to an agreement that prohibits development of bioweapons, but they do not develop bioweapons abroad. They do indeed fund biolabs in all the different countries, and you know why? Because they want to make sure that qualified scientists in foreign countries do not actually go off and make money working for terrorists developing bioweapons. So what they do is they go into countries like Ukraine and Uzbekistan and so on and so forth. They give money, they set up biolabs, and they make sure that those people are actually working on projects that are of benign nature. So that's exactly what happened in Ukraine. Were there biolabs that were funded by the United States in Ukraine? Yes. Were they working on anything nefarious? No. So we've got this covered. So I guess we'll move on to another question. Walter, Ilona.
Yeah,
no,
I'll just sum it
wait,
up.
don't move
I'll
on to
sum it up.
another
No,
question
no, I'm
because
not
I
gonna
disagree
interrupt
with
you,
you.
Kim. I'm just gonna
I
build
disagree
upon
with you, and
what
I
you
would like
said.
to
You
explain why.
were pretty much spot on. I'm just gonna add that, just to shorten the long-winded speech that you will have. I'll just, summarize that all these biolabs, they are obviously working on a secret use elixir for evil George Soros. And that's pretty much obvious. So we can move on to your next Russian disinformation talking point.
No, I'm not giving you talking points. I'm just telling you what I know. And what I
Your
know is that the
opinions,
U.S.
pardon, of course.
Can I finish one time? Can I finish one time? Maybe you guys will actually appreciate learning something. Let
Kim,
me
you
finish
are
this one
German,
point.
right? I'm a
Yes.
fellow German and I have to step in. Okay?
Yes,
Please.
go ahead.
Okay. Mein Freund. Oh, wow. I have to kind of take a deep breath. Okay. You're a fellow German. First of all,
So
what you
wait,
said.
we're not talking about biolabs
No,
anymore,
no,
right?
You
That's
said
it.
something that I
That
need to
basically
correct.
that discussion is done now. Yeah, I can't talk about it.
Correct something. I need to correct. You pronounced nonsense. Okay. One nonsense you pronounced was that all Germans are scared of the winter, and please stop this. Okay. You
I didn't say
dividing.
that.
You said they're scared
Putting
of the
words in
high
my mouth.
energy costs. You said they're
I was
scared of the
asked
high.
about a specific politician and what she said, and that is all
Frau
I referred to.
Wagenknecht, she
Exactly.
she's an absolute disgrace for Germany.
Oh, okay.
So the Germans, I cannot speak for all of them, but it's despicable that you are one of the dividers, because most Germans, and I'm born in Germany, my parents live there, they're not scared of energy prices. And you know why? Because they know what Ukraine is fighting for.
But
Ukraine
then why are there large
fighting
demonstrations
for us.
about it right
And
now?
you
Why
as
are
a
there right now
German,
demonstrations by Germans about
25
this
people.
problem? No, thousands of people.
No.
Why?
Those are the far right and the far left weirdly coming together, abusing the situation. Okay, they're abusing the situation.
So you're not thinking that there's a legitimate concern about energy prices and the cost of living in Germany?
The normal, decent German knows that Ukraine is fighting for Europe. Ukraine is fighting for all of us. So we are willing to make sacrifices. So it gets cold, oh well, we sleep with 2 blankets. We don't care. I'm so upset
And
that
I'm the
you
one who's
in here
accused
in
of
this
using
space.
talking points. These are German government talking points.
Okay, I'm sorry. This entire conversation between the two Germans was beautiful. I quite enjoyed it. But I need to note that the natural gas prices are going down and oil prices are going down. So both of our German friends here, Kim and Verena, don't have to worry about freezing this winter because you'll all be fine. Whatever thermostat you were planning to set to 17 degrees, it's likely not going to happen. So you're welcome.
Oh, but don't put me in the same boat. I was arguing against.
Oh yeah,
them.
I'm sorry.
not
yeah,
worried.
Verena,
I'm not worried.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm sure. I'm
So
sorry.
let me go